we face mass shootings, incarceration, deportation, and the separation of families of brown people, as we face racism against us Palestinians, Jews, Latinos, Muslims, and every other minority in this country, as they implement unconstitutional laws forbidding us from our basic rights of freedom of speech and our freedom to boycott, we continue to stand strong, and we will continue to never give up. They try and try to throw us off our track. They try to disturb our commitment to our cause, our people, and to our freedom. They don't understand. As long as Palestine is not free, and as long as our refugees continue to suffer daily humiliation in camps around the Arab world, and as long as our right of return is ignored, we will only continue to grow our movement. We will continue to be heard, we will not be intimidated, and we will not be silenced. Tonight, we have 2 youth members of our community that will be interviewing our guest of honor. Janna is a sophomore at Solomon Douglas High School and has been an active member with Al-Awda since she was 8 years old. Camila Safa is a freshman at Florida International University, and she was a member of Al-Awda's Handala Deka troop for 3 years. Jenna, who is one of the youngest repetitive journalists in the world and ambassador of South African children's rights organizations Shamsan, meaning 2 sons, has been on a month-long speaking tour. She hails from the village of Nevi Saleh in the Israeli-occupied West Bank, where she has participated in and recorded weekly protests against Israel's occupation and confiscation of Palestinian land and resources, as you saw in the video. Last summer, Jenna undertook a successful speaking tour to South Africa where, among other things, she participated in Nelson Mandela's centenary celebration events. Jenna hopes to engage with broad sections of the American public, and especially with activists fighting for justice in their own communities and with youth. As a Palestinian child, living through the brutal injustices of military occupation that impacts all aspects of her life on a daily basis, Jenna began reporting on, and sharing her lived reality from the age of 7, shortly after 2 of her relatives were killed by Israeli forces. Jenna now enjoys a global following, serves as ambassador of the South African Palestinian Children's Initiative, Shamsan, and has been awarded internationally for her role in media. In a political climate where adults are inert with despair, Jenna continues her passionate fight for the freedom of her people. She continues to stand up for human rights and speaks out against the various mechanisms used by Israel to violate the rights of Palestinians, particularly children. Ladies and gentlemen, Al-Awda presents Jenna Jihad.
So, you've interviewed many people. Which interview and with whom was the most exciting?
I've interviewed a couple of people here on my speaking tour in America, which started on July 10th and is ending in a couple of days. And actually ending today. And I interviewed a lot of people, including Rashida Khalid, Betty McCollum, and those were like the 2 most inspiring interviews people that I interviewed. Yeah.
Tomorrow is Eid al-Adha, from Sana to 70. What is a typical day in occupied Nevi Saleh, and what do you do?
Oh yeah, we're excited for everyone. So on my typical Eid day, I would be just with my family, having fun, and just like with my grandma and everyone, and it's so much fun, like Eid in Palestine. But of course, usually like right now, like especially tomorrow's Eid al-Adha, there was a threatening that, like for example, the Israeli settlers were going to raid Al-Aqsa Mosque tomorrow because there will be a lot of people there for the Eid. A lot of stuff are going to happen tomorrow, which happens every single Eid because a lot of people are everywhere, so a lot of stuff happens.
You've reported in Nevi Saleh and in Jerusalem. How do you keep calm in the face of danger? Keep calm in the face of danger.
So I try to report in any place I can. So including Nevi Saleh and including Jerusalem. So how do I keep calm in the face of the Israeli occupation soldiers? As I said, I'm not calm. I'm too loud. I support, try to scream at them, as you can see. Try to just, send my message, because it's really important to just say that we're tired of all of that's happening. We're tired of killing. We're tired of the arresting. We're tired of children getting injured. Our rights are getting violated. Our childhood is getting violated. So I try to send my message in any way possible, and being calm is one of the ways. But yeah.
Who inspires you and motivates you to keep reporting?
So there are a lot of people, including you guys, just coming here and seeing people, supporting Palestine, trying to raise awareness about what's happening is very inspiring. Just gives us this hope and this push to continue whatever we're doing. And also, something that really gives me hope, just thinking how Palestine would be in the future in 10 years. How would it be without occupation, without checkpoints, with us living a normal life? Just gives you this push to continue resisting and to continue doing whatever you guys can to just live this normal life. So that's one of the things that inspires me and just keeps me going with my reporting.
How do you come up with the questions, and how do you decide who you want to interview?
So it depends on where are we. For example, when I was in South Africa, we met a lot of people. So a lot of those people were, activists, and if I was interested in their stories, I would interview them. And the questions usually are it's just gonna pop in your mind whenever they speak about their experiences, and whenever they answer something, a new question just develop, and it's very nice to learn more about people's experiences, especially when I went to South Africa, because they were under apartheid, and learning about how they lived, how they fought this apartheid, this colonization, how they just were very amazing people. It's just very inspiring and very amazing to learn from their experiences.
You and Activism are ambassadors of Shinsan out of South Africa. Other than meeting Nadia Mir, how did that visit to South Africa inspire you and help you be a better activist?
So as I said, learning more about how they struggled, how they lived through all this inequality, all this separation, and relating it to what's happening in Palestine can, give you more techniques to resist and stuff like that. And as you said, speaking about Shinsan is our organization is our initiative, which was created 3 years ago, and we tried to create a platform for the Palestinian children to send their stories to the world. And we interviewed about 300 Palestinian child. The interviews were not normal interviews, but they were sending me their message through art. They were drawing something that would represent whatever they went through or how they want the world to be. And I just want to say one story. One of the children that we interviewed, his name is Ahmed Dawabsha. Maybe some of you heard of him. So Ahmed Dawabsha, at the time, he was in the hospital. He was 5 years old. And the background story of Ahmed Dawabsha is that he was living in Duma, which is a village outside Nablus, which is a city in the West Bank. So Ahmed was just having a normal night, sleeping with his mom, dad, and his 18-month-old brother, Ali, in their house. And Duma is right next to a settlement, a legal Israeli settlement in the West Bank. So the Israeli settlers, on that night, they raided the village under the Israeli occupation soldier protection. One of those settlers had Molotov cocktails, so he was just throwing them at Ahmed's house, and the first one that was thrown just broke the window and just came in the room. And the first one that broke the window, it just came in the baby's bed, and the baby was burned to life. Just some of you here are parents, so the first natural reaction would be just going and trying to save your child. So both the parents woke up on the side of the glass just getting broken, and they were trying to save their child.
Your mom
that
was
was
watching.
unfortunately never saved.
So
but
say
when
hi.
they were trying to save the child, more Molotov cocktails were being thrown at them. And Ahmed just ran to the living room, and then those parents were also burned. So Ahmed at the time, he was 4 years old, and just imagine a 4 years old just being the only survivor of their like whole family. And he stayed in the hospital for a whole year because he had like really bad burns on his body. Like a huge percentage of his body was burnt. And when we went and asked him to draw something about his life, he started with drawing his house, which he colored with a very, very, very bright yellow. And then although his house is black because of how much it's burned, then he drew his brother Ali playing on a bicycle around him. He drew a lot of chicken and a lot of animals. And he also drew himself like wearing a sun hat and also holding an umbrella because he cannot get exposed to sunlight because of the burns on his body. And the very strange and odd thing that Ahmed drew was two suns in the sky. And then after that, we asked him, like, why did you draw two suns? We only have one sun in the sky. And he's like, okay, that's my drawing, and that's my world, and I want my world to be extra sunny and brighter. And even psychologically, if you explain that drawing, depending on how he drew the suns, those two suns were representing his two dead parents. And that's why we call it sun, but yeah.
Almost every day in Ramallah, there are protests, sit-ins, marches, and demonstrations. How do you feel when you see less youth involved?
Are you in Palestine? So I really don't see less youth involved. I'm seeing a lot of youth getting involved because, this generation, I believe, is more educated and is very, exposed to the world, just throughout internet, throughout social media. So a lot of youth are cooperating in all those demonstrations, even leading those demonstrations, leading those marches, leading their waves of resistance. And it's something very amazing, it's something I'm very proud of because I believe that we are the generation that can make a difference, and it's really happening, and it's really amazing.
What would you ask of our youth in the United States to help you?
So as I said, youth are the leaders of today and the leaders of tomorrow. So I believe that we have to just all unite and put hand to hand to make this world a world of peace, a world of love, a world of equality, to liberate Palestine, to just change this world, to just make this world a better place, just give every single child around this world their rights, their childhood, and not be separated like the leaders right now. They're all separated, they're all divided, but let's all be united, and let's all fight for the same cause. When I came here to America, I met with a lot of different groups, especially here, including Native Americans, including African Americans, immigrants, also Arab Americans, and I learned about your guys' struggles. And it's something that we can relate to as Palestinians, and it's basically coming out of the same colonizer, and we're having a really similar issues. So we all have to unite to just change those very, very bad issues and make all of those children live in peace.
So just one last question. How did you feel after interviewing and meeting our first ever Palestinian Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib?
After interviewing Rashida Tlaib, it was very amazing. She had such an amazing personality, which I'm very proud of. And just seeing her speak about all those issues and just standing with all those people and speaking about being proud of her identity is something very inspiring. And after speaking to her, I was very, very happy, at least we got a Palestinian woman in the American Congress, and seeing, we didn't have that 10 years ago, so how would it be after 10 years? Maybe a lot of stuff would change, maybe a lot of people like Rashida would be in the Congress, and a lot of people would be part of changing what's the situation right here.
You give good interviews, and you're a very good interviewee, by the way. A question that we had that came in email, which is a good question. Organizations working in America, you met a lot of them during this tour. we face a problem, which is how do we motivate our youth to get involved, not only get involved and support and show solidarity, but even take initiative. Do you know what I mean? So how would you, like if you come and you tell Al-Awda or you tell SJPs and you, what would you advise them? What are ways to motivate the youth living in America to convince a kid, hey, that weekend don't go to the movies, come and support a Palestinian event? What ideas pop in your head to help us?
So of course I would try to, relate it to the issues that, or just relate it to the basic fundamental rights that they're gaining. Like for example, they're living in freedom, they're living in justice, which is basically super simple, but other children are not. And just try to educate them more about it, try to tell them more about it. Not only Arab, if I see here a lot of Arab children struggle, a lot of Native Americans, a lot of immigrants, try to relate those struggles to each other because it is related and it is similar. And feeling kind of the similar feelings as other children makes you want to change what's happening with you and what's happening with others. And I believe that's very important, and it's very important to just make them more educated about the issues and just let them learn about Palestine and about other international issues.
Let's take it to the floor. This is an open mic, okay? Open mic, but before we take it to the floor, we want to ask Jenna about, she's involved, this is Miss Nadia Mir, by the way. She's an activist from South Africa, very well respected in the community of activism over there and worldwide. Jenna is part of several campaigns that, one of the questions also was, we would like to hear a little bit more about these campaigns. Could you tell us about these campaigns, if you don't mind?
So in Shamsan, we try to create a lot of campaigns. Like last year, we had the child prisoner campaign, talking about what child prisoners face because we got subjected to military courts, and a 12 years old child under the Israeli military law can get arrested legally. And we did the Global Walk for Freedom, where a lot of cities around the world, a lot of people, a lot of groups, including a group from Gaza, a group from the West Bank, a group from South Africa, and a lot of other countries around the world, we walked in the same time for freedom. We made campaigns about education, trying to educate children, especially Palestinian children in the West Bank had to just cope with getting arrested, with getting interrogated. What did we do? We did a lot of stuff in those 3 years, to try to educate children around the world about what's happening in Palestine.
Can you also please give us, I think it's better, can you also please give us give us an update of, all of us were following Ahad Tamimi after she was free. What's her life now? How's she coping? Is she going to school? Is she okay? Can you tell us about your cousin?
Ahda's right now 18, so she finished school. She actually finished school in jail. Finished OSHE in jail. And right now she's studying international law in BZ. So, she's good.
Anybody has any questions for Jenna? Jenna Jihad, please stand up and give us your question. About her, about Ahad, she could, please stand up.
I was wondering if you could, one of the proposals that we hear sometimes about how solutions towards peace is that children have to learn how to see each other across borders and across divisions, and one thing that people say about Palestinians and Israelis is that the children have to learn how to see eye to eye. But from our perspective here in the U.S., that seems
difficult emotionally, but it's also very, very difficult, like has built in the West Bank and on our borders. We cannot cross them. As I said, 68% of the West Bank is illegal settlements, but those settlements, if they are not exposed to us, they're very protected by Israeli soldiers. No one can go like in there, or like they even like on every single entrance of a Palestinian village or a Palestinian city, there's that huge red sign that says it's very dangerous for any Israeli to go in, and if like the Israeli authorities found them in there, they're gonna be arrested. So it's not easy for them or easy for us. So it's not really a thing that we can do with all those walls and all those separations that we're subjected to.
How about the weekly, Nebi Saleh is famous for its weekly protests, non-violent weekly protests. It started because the settlement took Nebi Saleh's land and the spring, the water is there. Has the settlement grown? Number one. Number two, how are the weekly protests going? Are there new ways of protesting?
In Nabi Saleh, we started the weekly demonstration in 2009 after a lot of stuff were happening, not only against settlements, but also against the occupation in general. Of course, the settlement was built on the land of Nabi Saleh and the lands of other villages around Nabi Saleh in 1976. And it was built there, and of course it's expanding. They're stealing more lands, and when they were trying to steal more land, the land of the water spring, which is the main resource for water in Nabi Saleh, was stolen. And they started providing them with our water, which they started having 24 hours of water a day. But we started having only 12 hours of running water a week, and it was a very big problem for us because we didn't have a lot of water. That's why we see those very big black tanks in every Palestinian house. And even we pay 3 times the price that they pay to get 24 hours a day of running water. Tankered water is very expensive, unlike piped water. So we started our weekly demonstrations against all this very bad regime, against apartheid, against the occupation in general, by holding flags, by only singing, by only marching with our nonviolent resistance. And that's only one type of resistance. We have millions and trillions of ways to resist, including art, including poetry, including maybe singing, dancing. So everyone, I believe, can resist in their own way, and it's working. But right now we stopped our weekly demonstrations actually last year because Nabi Saleh is a very small village. It's only 550 people living there, and then 23 people were arrested, and including 13 child. And the weekly demonstrations, not a lot, it's the majority of the people were arrested, and also we started having daily attacks and daily raids after Trump declared Jerusalem the capital of Israel. So right now we don't have planned demonstrations as we used to have every Friday. Right now you can see them raiding the village every day. We have clashes every day. We have checkpoints every day, and we can just have the demonstration anytime, unlike what we used to have in the past, 2 years ago.
Yes, please.
I have a question.
You have to be louder.
Yeah. My question is, we see the videos of the Israeli soldiers with the, you guys was, when you were younger as little kids, I get really nervous about that. How do the soldiers, do they actually hit the kids? Do they hurt you? I know you said they arrest the kids. Does that happen? Did that happen in front of you? Did that ever happen in front of you?
Of course, they do everything, as I said. They don't treat children as children, and that's one of the main reasons we're resisting. I saw a lot of people getting killed in front of me. I saw actually 4 people getting killed in front of me, including my own uncle and my two friends. The last one was in June 6, 2018, and I was just waving at him when he was shot. And of course, a lot of children get arrested, a lot of children get injured because, as I said, we got subjected to military law, which says if you're a Palestinian child, if you're 12 years old enough, you can get arrested, you can get interrogated, treated like a criminal because of you trying to defend your land or just holding a flag. Sometimes you get arrested for no reason. And when you get arrested as I call it, sometimes get broken. Like, for example, last year my cousin Simon, he was only 11 years old and he was arrested. 2 weeks ago, a 4-year-old child was interrogated, an 8-year-old girl was interrogated. And that's why we're speaking, trying to concentrate on the child prisoner issue. And actually, one of my friends who got arrested, I wanted to talk about him a bit. His name is Muhammad Tamimi. So Muhammad, he's right now 16 and he got arrested 4 times in his life. The first one was when he was only 13 years old. He was arrested for 3 months with no charge. So if you got arrested for no charge, it means that they just tell you it's a secret file. We cannot show it to you, but it's basically nothing. They just wanted to arrest you for no reason. And so after that, he got released. And then in 2017, after Trump declared Jerusalem as the capital of Israel, you know, a lot of violence was happening in the West Bank, specifically in Nabi Saleh. So the Israeli soldiers were in the village for the past couple of days, and then they were just shooting gas canisters randomly. And Muhammad was playing with a couple of her friends on the mountain. They were playing soccer, and then out of nowhere, the shooting just stopped. You know, Muhammad thought that maybe someone got injured, maybe someone got arrested. Like, it's not very normal that the shooting would stop suddenly that way. So he was right next to that wall that had a ladder on it, and he just climbed that ladder to see where the soldiers were and what has happened. So in the same moment that he just looked, like, from the top of that wall, the soldiers were right under the wall, and he got shot with a rubber bullet that came right here and was stuck in his brain, and then he fell off that high wall, which structured his skull. And fortunately, his friends were right next to him, so they just took him to the hospital. But as his family, we didn't expect him to live. He was in a coma for 7 days. He had to get subjected to a very, very dangerous surgery to remove this bullet out of his brain, and then he lost 1/3 of his skull. So this whole part of his skull was just out of his head, and his brain was only covered with skin. And after 1 month of this surgery, he got arrested for the 2nd time in his life. In this time, he was still getting treated. He was still under medication, still getting his medicines. And you know, when you get arrested, you get subjected to a lot of stuff, including solitary confinement, including interrogation, maybe long-term handcuffs, blindfolded. So it was very hard when he was blindfolded because it was very tight on his skull and on his brain, which was only covered with skin. And in this second arrest, they even forced him to sign a paper in Hebrew, which is a language he didn't understand, that said, I didn't get shot by an Israeli soldier, but I fell off a bicycle, which caused 1/3 of his skull to get broken. Then he got released, and then he got arrested for the 3rd time last year in Ramadan after Iftar. Actually, it was after Iftar and just walking in the village. The Israeli occupation soldiers, they just came in a Palestinian registered car, pretending to be Palestinians, wearing normal clothes, and they just pretended that they just wanted to ask him for directions. So they just called him, and Muhammad wanted to go and help them. So when he went there, they kidnapped him. And as his family and as his parents and as his friends, we didn't get informed till the other day. So Muhammad is that type of person who would stay with us as his friends like till 1 a.m., till 2 a.m., but it was 4 a.m., it was 5 a.m., it was 6 a.m. His parents were just calling us and saying, is Muhammad with you? And we were like, no, Muhammad is not with us. You know, just imagine your friend getting lost out of nowhere. Those ideas and those just things that would just pop onto his mom's mind or onto his dad's mind. We literally didn't sleep this night searching for Muhammad around the whole village. We didn't find him. And after 24 hours, we got informed that Muhammad is in that interrogation center. And after that, he was arrested, and then he got released. And then he got arrested actually for the 4th time on October last year. He went to South Africa to get treated because he was losing his eyesight because of the injury. So when he came back, he got arrested for his 4th time. And during interrogation, the interrogator showed him some photos of him in an illegal demonstration holding a flag, which is illegal. And showed him some dates under those photos. And he was like, okay, during those dates, you were in those illegal demonstrations against us. And during those dates, he was in South Africa. We just had to show them the passport to just, prove that. But it just shows that how they just wanted to arrest that child for any reason they could come up with. And Muhammad is only one of thousands of children who get arrested, like Palestinian children who get arrested. Like every year, about 500 to 700 Palestinian child between the ages of 12 and to 17 get arrested. And from 2000 till now, we had about 10,000 Palestinian child who got arrested. Imagine 12 years old facing all of that and just getting criticized, getting hit, getting beaten up, getting subjected to all of that, and then just a lot of children actually come out of jail traumatized and having mental and psychological issues because of what they faced in there. Yeah. There are, personally, I'm going to speak about it personally, I face, my school is in a mullah, so I face 3 checkpoints going to my school, so if those checkpoints were closed, I have to, instead of me reaching my school in about 25 to 30 minutes, I have to take another way that takes me about 2 hours and a half to 3 hours to reach my school. And those checkpoints are not only a struggle for me as a student, but also a struggle, for example, for my grandma who started doing kidney dialysis 3 years ago from how much tear gas she used to inhale. So she has to go to the hospital 3 days a week, and sometimes she can't. A lot of women gave birth to their children on those checkpoints in the cars. A lot of patients cannot go to the hospital. A lot of workers cannot reach their works because of the checkpoints. And ISAT education is very important, and they are trying to also violate that from us because they always, every day, there are they can put those checkpoints anytime, but they always put it at 7 a.m. and at 3 p.m. So whenever we're coming back from our schools, we get stopped, and whenever we're going to our schools, we get stopped too. So it's very hard to go to our schools with those checkpoints. And because the Israeli checkpoints in the West Bank are not, the Israeli military checkpoints in the West Bank are not checkpoints, but are barriers on the street blocking you from reaching your school or you're reaching any place you want with armed soldiers on, right next to it. So if you even try to just go through them, they would just start shooting at your car. Any other questions?
How do you replenish your own strength?
We have a goal and we have an aim, and we really are tired of all of that. And doing nothing won't do anything for us. So just thinking about the life we would live without occupation gives you this strength to continue resisting and to try to do whatever you can to just let at least the next generation not to live the childhood that we're living right now, not to live all this discrimination, all this oppression, all of those very bad situations and very bad stuff that we're living as children right now. So that gives us strength to continue. And even we were raised on that thing that our land is very important to us and our culture is very important to us. So we always say that, in the video I said that we always try to control our fears, and also there is that quote that my grandma used to always say, that the bullet that does not kill you gives you more strength to continue and to stop all the other bullets that would get shot. So that's something that gives us strength.
When we spoke earlier, you told me that you were surprised that a lot of American people does not know about what's going on with the Palestinian people. Unfortunately, here in America, if people like to be sorry about dogs and cats when they die, and yet we have children in cages and immigrants dying. My question is that do you actually get those news from America in your hometown, and people are they aware that we're getting into a fascist government, a fascist system that puts children in cages here in America, and what do people say about it?
Of course, we are aware of what's happening here in America, and personally, when I go back to Palestine, I'm gonna try to raise awareness about that too. And of course, if we're against the killing of the black children here, we have to be against the killing of any other child around this world, including the Palestinian children. If you're against the children in cages on the border, you have to be against the arresting of any other child around this world, including the Palestinian children. So that's a message we're trying to send, because we can relate to all of that. We have to end all of that and concentrate on all those things that are happening.
Because a lot of Jewish groups here in South Florida, when the rest of the country, they like to proclaim that, if we see these kids in cages in the border, then we start to remember what happened in the Holocaust. Okay, so that's one narrative that is very valid. But those same activists, they seem to forget what the Israeli government is doing against the Palestinian people. So,
which is the same as what happened to them in the Holocaust, and that's sad.
Why do you think is that lack of acknowledgement or connection between the historical situations?
It's very sad to see the people who got oppressed before oppressing people right now and killing people right now and trying to do whatever they have gone through to other people, and it's something that really doesn't get into my mind, because if I experienced all of that, why would I want other people to suffer the same suffering that I suffered? And that's a very important message that we have to raise in the Jewish communities, and just try to remove those Zionist mindsets of the people and just try to work on peace altogether.
We have a question.
So a lot of us here feel like helpless when it comes to, helping the Palestinians. So what is it that we can do to just raise awareness, and what would you like to see from more Americans?
So you guys have to figure that out yourself, but I'm gonna help you, one of the most important things that I came here and after spending a week in the Congress and trying spoke with representatives and senators, we were trying to raise awareness about H.R. 2407, No Way to Treat a Child, Betty McCollum's bill, which calls for the ending of the U.S. military funding for any child rights violations. And I hope that you guys can call your representatives, ask them to co-sponsor this bill, which is very important, And you guys should try to stand up to hold your government accountable for whatever they're doing, for supporting all of that harm, for supporting killing the children. You have to raise awareness about what's happening in any way you can. You can also join Shrimstein. You can go to our Facebook pages and just see what's happening. And I guess the most important thing is to raise awareness in your communities and try to resist in any way you can.
There's a question over down there. Go ahead, raise your voice. Sorry. Ma'am?
I don't have a question, I have an observation. Thank you so much for bringing your awareness to us. But most importantly, for giving us hope. Our hope lies in our children, and oftentimes we don't really realize how much we're aware, and you have brought that awareness to us. I pray that you will continue to be, I don't consider you an activist, I consider you a child of tomorrow who sees the world tomorrow. And I hope your dream
A perfect indication of that is the newfound allegiance between the Zionists and the Hindu nationalists in India, which recently resulted in Kashmir being seized on fiat overnight. And just so we know, it's clear here, Israel is making a fortune selling anti-insurgency military supplies to the Indian government, exclusively putting down rebellions. If we go back to the age of apartheid, we'll know that Israel was the fundamental trading partner of South Africa, selling them anti-personnel weapons, tanks, tear gas, all that kind of stuff. So we have to look at across these issues and see how the spread of this kind of ideology threatens all of us, and of course it threatens us here as well.
I think we just seen the last raid on the Latinos in Mississippi, and the kids that were waiting for their. I think that made all of us cry. It didn't matter that kid, what kind of who is he? If that was a Jewish kid, an Arab kid, a Latino kid, a little Haitian kid. You know, remember those pictures we used to see here in South Florida, the little Haitian kids in the sea? It doesn't matter. Like the sister over there said, these children are the hope. And so when you come out to these events, I kind of sit there almost beg my kids to bring your American friends with you. Bring your American friends are not American friends at school. Bring them with you. Let them, because we have Americans with us. We have Jews with us. We have Latinos with us. It's a struggle for all of us, and we're all in the same boat. And as this gentleman said, you know, look at us here in America. Who would have ever thought we would reach this point? You know, who would have ever thought that these mass shootings, these racist mass shootings, would reach this point and be supported from the highest authority in the country? So when people like Jenna come and tell us their stories, and when we see people or hear people that are being left alone because their parents were deported by ICE, or when we see little Haitian kids that were given that temporary and now they're going to be kicked out, them in Honduras and El Salvador, it is one struggle. And that's why for the activists that are here, know that now the Dream Defenders and Black Lives Matter, Palestinians, we're all in it all together. You know, we've been in it pretty strong for a few years. That's all I wanted to say. But anybody else has any awesome questions for Jenna? They could be as general as, oh, Jenna, Amira here, my daughter, she has no mouth. She can't speak. She was asking, what do you plan on studying and majoring in life? And what will you do with that?
So of course in the future when I graduate school, Palestine will be free. But I'm going to try to cover whatever is going to be happening with other children around the world. My major is going to be political science, and my minor is going to be gender studies, which is stuff that I am interested in. And I believe that I can use those stuff to change what's happening with us, what's happening in the world. And yeah, that's what I want to study.
Good job.
One way of really raising awareness is educating our kids, because the kids are the future. And we want to make sure our kids here in the U.S. are able to answer questions and not to just be embarrassed or ashamed to even for anybody that's Palestinians to answer any subject that come up. So this year we started our first youth camp out of the Human Society for American immigrants, for American kids that are actually in the U.S. And the youth camp started lasted was for 8 days.
It doesn't even have to be a question. If you have something to say. We're good? Jenna, you want to close this with a final remark to the Palestinian community, to the community that came here, the Latinos and the Black and Jews and all of us Americans, are Americans. We're all Americans here. What's your this is the last day of your tour.
Yeah.
You know, I know you're probably thinking, and probably I'm not going to do this again until maybe 50 years.
No, it's very important. Oh, it's very important to do that. You know, of course it's tiring, but it's very important to raise awareness, and that's what would change what's happening. That's what would change the mindset of the mindsets of people, and I believe it's very important. Even like right here when I came, I saw how strong the Israeli propaganda was, and standing up against all of that and speaking about the truth is very important. So I really want to do that as much as I can. And thank you guys for coming. And I am really happy that there are a lot of different groups here, and I'm very proud of that thing. And I believe that we all have to always be together and fight together against all this injustice around the world. And thank you guys for coming, and I really appreciate it.
We have, as we were saying earlier, we have an event for Yemen coming up.
Assalamu alaikum. Eid Mubarak. It's finally time again. Anyways, hi guys, my name is Janna. So, first of all, thank you, Janna, Habibti, for being here. We really...
Jenna. فضحتينا يا زينة فضحتينا.
Thank you so much for being here. It's honestly, especially for our generation, for the younger generation, it takes a lot for someone younger to come out and really show out and show us, especially the tour, really, really big tour. That's a lot. That's a lot to go through. But first of all, thank you to Umma Anas for having this event for us. We appreciate it. And it takes a lot. I know Umma Anas has been doing this for so long, and Auntie Manat and their family. It takes a lot to really go out and do things like this. And just a round of applause for them for always making sure that they do things with helpful. They're like family to all of us, so thank you again. But in terms of Al-Awda, we really do appreciate any donations. We do have a little box up here at the front, or a little sign, little bowl. But make sure to give back to the organization that gives back to you guys. So I just wanted to put that out there. And also, not only do I want to mention Al-Awda, but we also do have an event coming up, August 30th. It's really, really, really important that you show out. No matter if you are Middle Eastern, African American, no matter what, we would love if you guys would come out. It is an event for Yemen, obviously, and we're raising awareness. We're raising as much money as we can for our brothers and sisters back home. Not only do we want to raise awareness for Palestine, which we did last year, but inshallah we can raise as much as we can for Yemen. I do want to stress as much as I can that you not only bring your families with you, but also the youth, because we're the next generation to come, and we're the next generation to make that change. So